All right, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about a new standard that's, well, quietly changing pretty much everything for artificial intelligence. It's called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP for short. And honestly, it's the key to unlocking the real power of the AI tools we're all starting to use every day. So, have you ever found yourself wondering why that super smart AI assistant you use, whether it's Claude or ChatGPT, still feels kind of stuck? You ask it to do something with, say, a recent email or a file on your computer, and suddenly you're the one doing all the work again. It's frustrating, right? Well, here's why. Most of these large language models, the LLMs that are the brains behind the operation, they're basically trapped inside a digital cage. They're totally isolated from real-time data and all the tools you actually use day to day. And this is what leads to that annoying copy and paste tango where you have to manually spoon feed the AI every little piece of information just to get a useful answer back. And that whole situation brings us right to the heart of the matter, the core challenge that the Model Context Protocol was specifically designed to solve, this massive AI integration problem. Okay, so before MCP, we had this nightmare scenario that developers call the N by M integration problem. Just picture it. You have N different AI models and M different tools. Think Slack, GitHub, your company database, you name it. To get any of them to talk to each other, you had to build a completely custom one-off connection for every single pair. It was just a chaotic, unscalable mess of doing the same work over and over again. So how do you fix that tangled web of connections? Well, you don't. You get rid of it. You create a universal standard. And that is exactly what MCP is. It's the universal connector. And honestly, the best way to wrap your head around MCI is with this really simple but totally perfect analogy. It's the USB for AI. I mean, think about it. You can plug any USB device into pretty much any computer, and it just works. MCI wants to do the exact same thing. Let any AI model connect to any tool completely seamlessly. So, what is it really? At its core, MCP is an open standard. It was first introduced by the AI company Anthropic, and what it does is create a universal language, a common ground that lets AI models discover and interact with all these external tools and data sources on the fly without needing a single line of code for every connection. And the architecture itself? It's beautifully simple. It's really just a classic client-server model. You've got the host, that's your AI app, like Claude Desktop. It runs the client, which is like a messenger that sends out requests. And that client connects to a server, which is the gateway to whatever tool you want to use, whether that's your file system or a massive database. And the growth of MCP has been, well, nothing short of explosive. Anthropic introduced it in November 2024, and it was almost immediately adopted by huge rivals like OpenAI and Google. Then, get this, by May 2025, Microsoft announced it would be integrating MCP natively into Windows. That is a huge deal. It means AI agents could soon be a default part of your computer, able to organize your files or manage your calendar without you ever having to install a thing. Now, this rapid-fire adoption is happening for one very clear reason. MCP completely unleashes a new world of incredibly powerful AI agents. With MCP, an AI agent can now directly control software. I mean, just imagine telling your AI, hey, go automate that GitHub workflow, or asking it to debug your company's AWS infrastructure just by talking to it in plain English. It could even manage your computer's entire file system, all because it now has a standard, universal way to connect to and control these tools. But, and you knew there was a but, giving an AI the keys to our digital kingdom comes at a price. Because when you connect these models directly to the real world, you open up a whole new category of pretty significant security risks. Suddenly, every single part of that simple architecture we talked about, the host, the client, the server, the tools themselves, every one of them becomes a potential new way for bad guys to get in. There are just so many ways for things to go wrong. And if we drill down a little, a few really severe threats stand out. You've got something called tool poisoning. This is super sneaky. It's where an attacker creates a malicious tool description that tricks the AI into doing something harmful. And then you have the more classic risks, like data exfiltration through a compromised tool, or server spoofing, where a fake server pretends to be a real one to steal information. And listen, this threat is not just theoretical. In one security scan, researchers found nearly 2,000 MCP servers just sitting there, publicly exposed on the internet. And the number of them operating with zero authentication, all of them, every single one. That's a massive, wide open door for attackers. And this has already led to some serious, real-world consequences. In July 2025, an AI agent at the company Replit deleted a live production database. And this happened even though the developers had given it explicit instructions not to make any changes. It's just a stark reminder that simply telling an AI not to do something, well, that's not nearly enough. So this all begs a huge question, right? How in the world do we secure this revolution? The answer, it seems, lies in building a totally new security foundation, one that's designed specifically for this new world of AI agents. And that foundation? It starts with a whole new mindset: zero trust. The core principle is actually really simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Never trust, always verify. In an MCPI world, you just can't assume any connection is safe. Every single request from any source has to be fully authenticated and authorized before it's allowed to do anything. Period. The strategy to actually pull this off is called defense in depth. And look, it's not about finding one single magic bullet that solves everything. It's about building layers of security, like the walls of a fortress. From network segmentation and gateway controls to tool management and output filtering, each layer provides protection. So if one layer fails, there are others right behind it to catch the threat. So in practice, this means you're fighting back with specific controls for specific threats. For example, that scary threat of tool poisoning, you counter that with really strict content security policies and behavior monitoring. Data exfiltration, you hit that with output filtering and DLP integration. Every major threat has a matching set of security controls you can put in place. So where does this all leave us? The Model Context Protocol is, without a doubt, revolutionary. It is literally giving AI the keys to interact with and even control our entire digital world. The potential here is absolutely immense. But, as we've seen, so are the risks. So the real question we have to ask ourselves is this: as we hand over those keys, are we truly ready to build the locks we need to keep it all safe?